You good?
Hmm.
Okay, hello everyone. It's the Fun House. Back at it again with another chapter discussion. Dave,
Liam.
I have COVID, so if I make funny noises, it's because I'm sick, and it's also 1 a.m., so we're pretty tired, but chapter just dropped a few hours ago, so we had to get the video rolling. Chapter begins right where the other one left off with Rudo about to face off Dreads, and he just picked up Griss's Hamsa, and he's about to go beast mode, we already know.
Looks sick.
And we get these panels where Dreads is sort of just witnessing, and he's just like, bruh, that's so sick. Which
He's
is
literally
kind of,
drooling.
yeah, it's kind of our reaction, let's be honest, right? He's just kind of curious about what Rudo's Jinky is, but little does he know, he's the main character, so his power's, of course, going to be insanely overpowered. And we see Folo taking care of Griss, who is basically dying. But surprisingly, Rudo doesn't rage like he did before. And he took those words to heart, and now he understands a little bit more about himself. He basically rejects Dreads and is gonna beat the shit out of him. Everyone's just witnessing this, and they're like, bruh, including Dreads, who's just like, man, he's pissed. And Dreads introduces himself as Jabber Wonger. And then they get ready to face off. Jabber just straight up rushes Rudo.
Here I come.
Folo continues to try and stop the bleeding of Griss, and Griss explains how he'll be fine, and he's also kind of got this inner monologue going about how proud he is of Rudo and how much Rudo has developed over the course of 4 hours. And
A day and a half.
he questions if Rudo's taking this seriously, and Rudo's completely confident. He just says, come at me, piece of shit, which I love. I love how vulgar he is when he talks.
I also liked how Jabber goes, I told you my name, didn't I?
Jabber keeps on rushing him, and Rudo's just kind of taking it like with complete confidence. He's not moving, and Jabber notices this. He's a bit confused, and he keeps rushing him, but he misses every single attack by a hair. It gets to the point where he's just going like, okay, what's going on? You didn't get hit by any of my attacks. Rudo explains that the Hamsa was prayed to every day for everyone's safe return. Rudo is interpreting this, right, as he hopes that the attacks don't even hit him at all. Sort of like a divine protection rather than a physical protection. And that is so dope. Jabber is like,
Ugh.
oh, how convenient. But that means your attacks aren't going to hit either. Rudo's like, don't you notice, like, I've been avoiding your attacks for a hot minute without I ain't even moving. It's you're the one who's moving. And he's like, what are you saying? I know where you're going. And so Rudo explains that the amulet cannot be used for attack. He's going to use Griss's weapon, and he's going to beat the crap out of him with his fists. Is there anything else you want to add? Or do you think that I can get into the real nitty gritty, which I like to do?
I just want to talk about Jabber for a sec. His name, I mean,
Bad
really?
name?
Like he jabs people with his Wolverine claws. Is that how he got his, like, and in his last name don't help? What's his last name? Wonger? Bro.
They did him dirty.
That's so fucked up.
Dude.
And again, I'm pretty sure we've said this before. He should be black.
Bro, I like when he took off the hood, I was just like, what?
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing. Obviously, I still like him. He's still like really funny, and he's really cool. I like how nonchalant he is, and just super carefree. Why ain't he black though?
Exactly.
I mean, we need more representation.
Cultural appropriation.
It's fucked up. And then they named him Jabber, which is just a nail in the coffin for, I don't even know what he is, but it sucks. But yeah, you could continue.
He's still good, and
you still love him.
This isn't the main villain. He talked about having a boss, so yeah. I'm not too worried. But like, I genuinely think he's a good, like, I don't know, like second in command, or a good like a
minor villain.
Yeah, a good mercenary type dude. You feel me? Kind of like the sound ninja for Orochimaru. Like, they do their job, and they're
cool sometimes.
Yeah, they're distinct enough, and they have personality, so that's okay. Definitely, I'm a little bit disappointed with his Jinky, but like, other than that, like, I think
it is. It's like, oh, he's fucking Wolverine. Like, okay, I mean, it's cool, but
it ain't no umbrella.
We've seen it before. It ain't no umbrella. And ain't no Hamsa either.
Yeah. So first things first, the Hamsa. Okay, the Hamsa design is peak. It's peak.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
So good.
It
It
an
looks
awesome,
awesome.
right? Like fucking, like I don't know what even to call it. It just looks like a summon in some MMO.
Jabber said it the best himself.
Yes.
So sick.
Yeah, so sick. It created so when he touched this Hamsa, as we explained before, the Hamsa has a lot of value because it's a Jinky. I'm going to get more into this in even another video, right? So much to talk about from this one chapter and the last chapter alone. But to put it as simple as possible, givers and Jinky are not associated, other than the idea that you need to be a giver to use a Jinky. But everyone can have a Jinky. And so the Hamsa is Griss's Jinky. It just, he couldn't use it. So it was still accumulating all of that value from being a precious item that could foster a soul. And Rudo finally unlocked that potential, which is why this Jinky is so powerful. Because of how much value it has. Because he was able to unlock its full potential. And that's why it looks so awesome. So the design is very cool. Obviously, it has 5 tendrils because 5 fingers, and each of those tendrils has like ribbons that are tied together by chains, and then they have their own little Hamsas on the end of it. And what I found cool is throughout the chapter, the little hands on the ends of the tendrils were just copying whatever Rudo was doing.
Like when he points, it's so cool.
When he points, they point. And like when he like, oh my God, they just copy his hands. It's so funny. And it's just a little cute little thing. It also has his name written on it in big bold letters. It's not English, but it looks very close.
It's close enough.
Yeah, it's close enough to where you know it's his name. Maybe I'm assuming, but it just looks like his name to me.
It looks like Rudo, yeah.
And then obviously it has the evil eye dead in the center, which represents how it is deflecting the evil eye, aka Jabber. And yeah. And then it just looks dope. And obviously it's all like dark because all of Rudo's energy so far in the manga has been dark compared to the other givers who have like a white energy around their stuff. Well, everyone else has, well, Rudo specifically has only dark. So that's why it's dark. Because obviously the Hamsa is not dark at all. So if anyone was confused there.
And that's also a really cool distinction.
Yes, it is. It is. It makes Rudo special. A lot of people also told me how Rudo's pupils turn black while everyone else's pupils turn white.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Which is further going into that idea that he has like the black energy around his power. Just a cool little aesthetic. Anyway, they get into this fight, and it's very cool because we have this line here where, you know, after Rudo is explaining how Griss had an impact on him, where he says, I reject everything you've said, and I embrace everything you reject. And it's not just speak, it perfectly represents Rudo's character, because Rudo is a person who finds value in everything, while Jabber is the complete opposite. And he has very strict standards for who is valuable and who is worthless, which is why he let Folo live, and why he attempted to kill Griss, because he actually saw potential in Folo. So he was like, this one has potential, and he just brushed him off to the side. Then he attempted to kill Griss. And that's why he says, I reject everything you've said, and then I embrace everything you reject. Embracing everything you reject being he is a person who sees value in everyone and everything. And it's so beautiful that he thinks this way because he has to, because he sees himself as human trash, because he was thrown out by his parents, as we saw last chapter. So he feels that he needs to justify his own existence by finding value in literal trash and everything. So I love that aspect of Rudo. I think it's one of his strongest points. And like I've said before, it perfectly complements his power, which is the ability to literally make everything valuable, no matter how useless it seems. We think back to the plunger.
Poop flinging.
Yes, poop flinging.
Classic.
And then, Jabber introduces himself. Not much to go off of here. He doesn't really seem like that complex beyond how he is now, which is a guy who has a strong will to fight.
And is goofy.
And is goofy, and he likes fighting strong dudes. Like, it's simple as, He likes fighting powerful givers. And likes
there ain't nothing wrong with that.
But how many powerful givers does he come across? How many people do the Vandals really fight, like, on a daily basis? It's a very interesting question.
I hope we see,
especially when they say the janitors.
We learn more about them.
Yeah, he says that it seems like the janitors aren't experienced with fighting people.
Yeah,
right. That's what Zonka made me think. So, who are the Vandals fighting all these days that are powerful givers?
Like another faction? What?
Lot
to be discovered.
We still don't even know how common givers are. I only assumed that they were not common because the janitors only had 100 or so. But
which does not seem like a lot for if they're covering the entire abyss.
No, we still know very little about the abyss, how big it is, the entire society in general. We know very little about anything. So all of this information always just brings more questions until we get the context of a full world around it. But anyway, we get further explanation on how Jabber's plan is to capture Rudo alive and bring him to his boss. And obviously, Rudo is not going to let that happen. So they fight. And this fight is awesome. We see just, a little bit more power scaling and a little bit more awesome stuff. And we kind of get an explanation, kind of, as to how Rudo's power works a little bit more. So, especially when there's emphasis on the word imagined. Rudo says, I imagined it like this. So this could possibly lead on to the idea that some of Rudo's power is up to his own interpretation of how things should be. That would be amazingly powerful.
He can fight anyone and pick up whatever, useless piece of garbage and make it a weapon to perfectly counter them.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I saw before how, when he picked up something, it kind of transformed into something that would be ideal for his situation. Like when he picked up the fence gate and it turned into a really big splinter of things that would protect all of them from the aberrant beast that was rushing them. And I was like, okay, it probably turned into that to protect them. So he probably did that unconsciously, but maybe he could transform things into whatever shape he wants when he understands it. And maybe this is an extent of that, obviously, though, with a much more powerful Jinky, right? He can determine the concept of what protection means. He could, while someone might believe it is a barrier or a shield, Rudo imagined it like the ability to not get hit by an attack. And so that's exactly how it ended up helping him. And that's just so interesting and kind of overpowered. But
he's the main character. You gotta
exactly. And I also like how, of course, he imagined the fingers pointing when he points.
Which is just so cool effect. Rule of cool.
Exactly. But this goes back also to what I said before in the Griss's Hamsa video about how the Hamsa is culturally not a symbol of attack. And while it does represent strength and power, it mainly represents strength and power in the context of protecting you, or deflecting danger, specifically protecting you and deflecting against the evil eye. And that's exactly what it does here, because they explain perfectly that the Hamsa does not attack. It just protects Rudo, as it should, which I commend Keurana, the mangaka, for being this accurate with her research and understanding of the cultural implications of the Hamsa and how it works. Because I was kind of low-key getting scared a little bit that Rudo was going to start slapping him around with those little,
tendrils.
Fists. Yeah, no, I did. I'm going to be honest with you. And I feel bad that I didn't even have my faith in her to accurately portray that as she did. Because here I see now I have complete faith. She understands exactly what she's doing, and she does her research. And as I said, I would explain further on the eye portion of the Hamsa, the Nazak, is what it's referred to as, is just the part that is meant to deflect the evil eye, right? While the 5 fingers themselves, the Hamsa part is meant to represent the protection, strength, power, and then the Nazak part is supposed to be the deflecting part. And it's even down to the smallest detail, Liam, because he explains how, how it, like, the eye portion kind of can watch Jabber and see what he's gonna do, Mm-hmm. How it's like looking at him, and then it emphasizes the eye. It's just so cool. It's very well done, and obviously it looks dope as well.
Looks awesome.
And then because the Hamsa doesn't attack, he has to figure another way to damage Jabber, and he's like,
just beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, what better weapon than fucking beating the shit out of him with his fists? And that's great. And I guess this is totally viable because, as we remember, Rudo is just unreasonably physically strong for no reason that is explained yet.
Which I'm also glad that it isn't just him, because Jabber seems to be like unreasonably fast, like way too fast.
That's true. It seems like just a lot of people in this world are unreasonably strong, but they make it a point to say that Rudo is too. So this isn't just like bullshit. They've alluded to it since chapter 1. And chapter 2 and chapter 3, like they just showed
in chapter 4 and chapter 5.
Yeah, exactly. Like Semiyu's like, oh, he's so strong. You don't even need to train that. Just train him to use his Jinki. And we see him cutting the cutting board when he's like 5 years old. So they want you to know that Rudo's strong, even for Gachiakuta human standards. Even in chapter 1, he was dodging bullets. So not too successfully, but like it happened. And even here it says, know the power of thoughts at the end, which in my opinion alludes to the idea that Rudo's power and like what happens with his Jinki is determined by his thoughts and feelings. Which is a big theme in a lot of different stories. The idea that you can incarnate power through thought or imagination alone. And it's a pretty cool motif to have throughout the series. I just hope...
I think it fits in, especially with Rudo, very well.
Yes, sometimes it can get out of hand, but as I've been proven with this chapter, I completely trust the mangaka to do whatever she wants, however she wants, because she clearly does her research and she clearly thinks things ahead. And of course, we gotta mention the art.
So good.
It's just... I'm not even going to talk about it. Anyway.
I have one thing to say about the art. It's a specific stylistic choice for a character. Rudo. I just noticed it. I was looking at the final page, know the power of thoughts. That man's eyebrows, kind of small. Like, they only cover half of his eye.
What you trying to say?
I don't know. It's just, like, weird. And then if you'll put pictures in the video. There's like other parts where it's like his eyebrow is so minuscule. It's weird, but it looks obviously he still looks awesome.
Yeah, I think he just has big ass eyes.
His eyes outgrew his eyebrows.
I mean, even throughout this whole manga, he's got huge ass eyeballs, bro. It's like one of his defining traits, the giant albino eyes. But yeah, is there anything else you want to add?
Honestly, no. I'm just excited for next chapter because this chapter was very build-up-y. We're gonna see a lot. I think we're gonna see a lot of shit soon. Hopefully it doesn't go too fast because it is a very fast-paced manga.
Yeah,
but it's going good.
I guess the final more like thing that I want to say is like Griss and him dying or not dying. We don't really know. Griss says that he'll be fine. I don't know if that's just talk.
I don't believe him. I mean, it went splurt.
It went splurt and gush, bro. It went splurt and gush.
Ooh, a double whammy.
Yeah, so I don't want Griss to die, but at the same time, you can't come back from that, bro.
It's gonna be hard.
If he does survive,
I think he's gonna be like Guy Sensei.
maybe. If he does survive, I just hope that he like what am I trying to say? That he's out of commission. You know?
I hope it takes time to recover.
Yeah, like
he's not instantly back in the fight.
Exactly. I would like there to be some level of I don't know, consistency with. I mean, at the end of the day, author could do whatever she wants. I'm sure she'll make anything believable. But I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be good for longevity if like someone survives such a fatal wound this early on. But we always keep talking about this like chapters before there's even a reasonable conclusion. So I'm gonna just hold myself off. And
it's really hard to speculate with 16 chapters.
Yeah, I'm gonna just appreciate what we have right now and be like, you know what? This was goated. I can move on and wait till the next goated chapter.
Wait for 17 to say it's the best chapter yet.
Dude, this was close to being the best chapter. It's always like that. All right. That's about it. I'll end it off here. The video's getting too long. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day, everyone.